Hello ladies and gentlemen, Reginald Scott here. Welcome to the third and final part of self-defense for cyclists. Today I'm going to be doing a demonstration with my friend here. This is Dimitri. Dimitri, what is it you exactly do? Okay, well that could be useful today. Dimitri and I, as I say, are going to be doing a demonstration today to try and give you some really basic stuff on self-defense. Now, if you're interested in self-defense, I couldn't recommend enough that you go and join a club of some kind of martial art. Really, any martial art practiced well is useful against someone who's untrained. But our particular favourites are things like, if you really want to learn how to protect yourself on the street, Systema, Krav Maga are very useful. And if you want something a bit more traditional, then I would advise Aikido, which is what we do. Oh, there you go, Dimitri agrees with me as well. So we're going to begin the video with someone coming from their car towards a cyclist, myself, and they're going to be angry, but they're not going to be violent. And we're going to show how to de-escalate that situation to a point where they just go away and get back in their car. Then we're going to ramp things up until we get to the stage where the person is intending to harm us and hurt us. We're at the traffic lights, sitting on the bike, waiting for the lights to change, and Mr. Angry Driver that we just had a confrontation with earlier decides to get out of his car. Be aware of your surroundings, be listening for those car doors, or be listening for him shouting angrily behind. Okay, Dimitri? I'm really sorry, sir, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, I apologise, it was totally my fault. You know, that junction back there, I should have been looking a bit better. I really apologise. Please have a nice day. You alright? Alright, thank you very much. So, the first thing you do is you get off the bike. Don't stay on the bike. Dimitri, can you come back a minute? As you can see, cleats. If I'm on the bike, you can easily push me over, even with the bike itself. So this is the worst possible place to be. If someone's coming, get off that bike straight away. Then turn the bike as a barrier. I've now got distance. I can increase that distance as much as I want. If he really wants to attack me, he's got to come around the sides, in which case I can change position. Alright? So use the bike as a barrier. That's the first one. Talk them down. Admit responsibility. It doesn't matter if it wasn't your fault. It doesn't matter if they were a complete idiot. If you think that they're going to threaten you, or you think that they might come to violence in this situation, it's better to swallow your pride and walk away mentally from the situation. Just accept responsibility. I'm sorry, it was my fault, you were right. That can go a long way to calming somebody down. Whoa. So at this stage, our assailant has tried to make a grab for us because they want to bring us closer to do us other harm. We use the bike as a shield, and as they come in, we destabilise them by letting that bike go into them or pushing them back with that bike. Now he's having to bend forward, he's off centre, so we can do something. If he gets hold of us, it doesn't really matter, because we can still strike. Palm strikes, slaps, elbows up the middle, or just simply push them back. They're still off balance because of the bike. Or if we're clever, we can get in early and we can just pull them straight over. Again, he's going to find it difficult to stay stable when he's got that underneath him. If you've got a lightweight bike, you have the potential to kick the bike up and use that as a more offensive weapon. In this situation, my bike is pretty heavy, so I'm just using it as a barrier, as a shield. But if it's a bit lighter, and I can demonstrate that, you can grab hold of the frame as they're coming up and bring it in like this. Now this is really good because, again, I'm creating that distance. If he goes for a kick, I can drop the frame down, and all he's going to get is metal. I can use the chainring on the front to threaten him, so push him back with the chainring. If he tries to come round the outside of me, I can turn in a much smaller circle than he can. So I've got the advantage. If he grabs hold of the bike to try and pull it off me, I let him have it. Now he's got the bike, and I follow him with a jab. He's also dropped it on his shins, because I've let go, which is they're not what they're expecting. This is my property, they think I'm going to hold on to it. If they want the bike, let them have the bike, because then both their hands are occupied. Similarly, if they grab hold of the bike and push you, just go with it. It doesn't really matter. No matter where you go, you've still got that space dividing you. The moment they let go of one side to try and hit you, you can counter. So, in this situation, for whatever reason, the bike has been dropped and is no longer in play. Now we're coming into much closer kind of combat where it's going to be more hand-to-hand stuff. We're going to demonstrate with you now. He likes that. We're going to demonstrate with you now some really basic stuff that you can take with you from today's video and hopefully aid you if you ever get in one of these situations, whereas, if all possible, try and avoid it. So we've lost the bike, we've been pursued, we're backed off in a corner, and this is it. Now we're fighting for real now. One really useful thing to learn is how to avoid getting hit, or avoid getting all the power from these punches. Now, somebody like Dimitri has got a very powerful right hook, and if I tense up and try and block it with a solid arm, I'm actually going to come off quite badly. For example, if I go rigid and he hits me, notice how I move off balance. Just go again, a bit harder. It's very difficult for me to stop that blow. However, if I relax and I allow my arm to strike him in a relaxed way, I can actually stop that attack. Now there was no real strength in what I did there. I literally laid my arm on his, used the weight of my arm to stop that strike. I'm hitting him in his soft tissue and his muscles. So if you do it right, it'll actually hurt him more than it hurts you. Just one more time, Dimitri. See, there's a lot less impact there because I'm not tensing up. If you stay relaxed, you stay on the spot. If you tense up, you get bounced off. So if we have stopped this strike here, or we've avoided this strike, the logical conclusion is this one is now coming. It's all very well people showing martial arts and self-defense where they go, okay, I've blocked this strike now I'm going to do this. Well, while you're thinking about doing the next thing, there you go, there's another hit coming. That hand, if they've got two arms, they'll be using them. If you find a one-arm guy, you're okay. You probably can't come in with a headbutt. Something's coming from this direction, you can guarantee it. So for me, I answer the telephone. Really great tip someone taught me a long time ago. Just answer the phone. So, once block, two block, I've answered the phone, I've projected this side of my body, and I'm in close. A big mistake people make when fighting bigger guys or big adversaries is they back off. If I back off, that's where he wants me. I'm getting the full impact of his blow. Get in close. It sounds crazy, but the safest place in a tornado is in the centre, not on the outside. Even if he hugs me, that's fine, because really, that's not too dangerous for me. He's not hitting me. And then this is where I can intimidate my assailant. I'm going to bite his ear off if he tries something like that. Think aggressive. He doesn't want you to do that to him. If he thinks you're going to actually try and bite him, he's going to let you go. Same thing, I go for his nose if I have to. So anyway, go back to that position. So we've stopped this punch, we've answered the telephone. Use this elbow, push him back, or bring this elbow up under the chin and into the throat. Just for demonstration purposes, for those of you at home watching now, take the back of your hand and just slap your throat there where the Adam's apple is. That is an extremely awful place to be poked, slapped or punched. Even with the back of your hand, just slap your assailant in the throat if you get a chance. That will take them out for a good few seconds. It's a really nasty place to be poked. Or, two fingers, just in the dip at the base of the throat. Stick those fingers in there when you're in close and push down. You can push someone back like that, no problem. get hold of the other hand and just push him back. Force him out of the way. So remember, don't try and tighten up because he's becoming mobile and easy to knock off. Don't retreat because you get the full power of his punch. Come in close. That's where you want to be. Another thing you need to watch for when you are in close is the guy's knees. But if you have him in close and you block him well enough and you're pushing him back, it's very difficult for him to knee effectively. And we can stop that just by raising the leg and pushing him back. As long as our weight is forward, it's hard for him to knee us. If, unlike me, you're wearing some decent shoes and you're a confident runner, the thing you need to be aiming to do is get away from this situation as soon as possible. For me, I'm a terrible runner and I always wear cycling shoes, so fighting really is my only option. But for example, what I was doing was coming on the inside of his blows, so that means I'm on the inside of his attacks. If, however, you want to get out of the way, it's best to go to the outside. So as this strike comes in, I want to move out of the way. From this position, he's unstable in that direction. Same thing goes for if we come under. Cover the head, come underneath, elbow to the inside, and hopefully that gives us enough time to get away. I just want to talk briefly about a couple of controls. What I mean by controls is, I guess what we would call in martial arts, locks and pins. These can get quite complicated and quite advanced, but I just want to show you two that I find relatively easy to learn, that you can practice at home with somebody, or that you can learn relatively quickly. So the same thing again, if he comes in with a strike, remember this strike is always coming from this side. I'm protecting that side of the body. I'm pushing his face away with my arm. Okay? At this stage we've got a couple of options. We can come in under his arm, onto his shoulder, both hands over the top, turn over and force down. Now with this one, we keep the arm straight so it's locked out, and if you come up for a minute, with this one it's a nodding action. We relax our arms on top and we nod. And as we nod, they go down and we can push them away. Or if you know a little bit more about martial arts, you can start controls, but it's very simple. It's just curl underneath, both hands on top, elbow over, this is locked out, and push down. The other one, which again is very useful and can be developed into a multitude of things, the same sort of thing, but this time, after we push the head away, we come up over the top. This piece here is like a blade. We get our fingers into that blade in their palm. We grab hold there and we turn this over. So now we have their arm locked out, with their elbow locked out, and we have like a gooseneck, a wrist control here. From here we can do a variety of things. We can strike them from behind, or we can simply again push them away and make our escape. I don't want to go into depth with these too much because this is the sort of thing you need to go to a dojo to learn. But it's very simple. Just up, over the top, turn. And that will work with a lot of people. If you're not very strong, you can get both hands on it. Concentrate all your power just here. Because instead of fighting his whole body, we're just fighting this point. And believe me, Dimitri's got very big hands, very strong wrists, and he's incredibly flexible, but this still works with him. Just turn that wrist over. Both hands if you like. Kick. Knee, push away. As I spoke in earlier videos, there is a potential to use tools for self-defense. And what I mean by that is things that you will have on your person every day that you can use to increase your chances of surviving this situation. Now, as I mentioned in an earlier video, using things like this is a very bad idea, simply because if I hit poor old Dimitri here in the head with this, there's a good chance I'll kill him. And really, we don't want to go to prison for his stupidity. So I would definitely advise you don't use something like this. This is going to kill somebody. However, if it's all you have and you feel that intimidated and that's under threat, use it like a little kosh or use it like a little hammer. With D-locks, grab it by the thickest part of the D-lock and have the outer ring on your arm. You can use it to block and you can use it to improve your striking. With this one, I'd use it like a little club. If he comes in with a strike, I can smack him on the wrist or the shoulder or the elbow. Okay? Same with the legs. If he comes in with this, I'm going to go for the knee. Never the head, never the neck or the shoulders, anywhere around there, not even the solar plexus here, just the extremities. If he comes in with a grab, whack it, beat it off with this. If that's coming, block it with this. That sort of thing. That's the only way I would advise you use this tool. Otherwise, you're running a huge risk of ending up in prison for what really is just a simple case of road rage that really doesn't need to go any further. The thing about this is also, if I hurt Dimitri, there's a likelihood that my testicles will end up in a bottle of water next to my bed. I'd much prefer to use a weapon like this. This is what I call a force multiplier. It's like a Kubaton. This is just a carbon fibre bike pump, but with this, when you strike, it increases the power of those strikes by increasing it and maximising the amount of force on a small surface area. This is quite nasty. Because, anyone ever done that to you before? Come up behind you and stuck their fingers in the sides here. That's just with the fingers and it's just a light tap. The same principle can be applied from this. You're, again, maximising the amount of force from your strikes into a small surface area. So, with Dimitri here, I'm going to be jabbing him in the ribs, I'm going to be jabbing him in the throat if I have to. Or really anywhere else, under the armpit is always good. We're using it just as a jab. If he comes forward, tries to strike, I'm going to hit him like that. I can push him back with this quite effectively. It hurts. And that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to kill somebody, we're just trying to dissuade them from fighting us. Another way you can use this weapon is in a hammer fist. So with this one, again, I'm in a boxing stance. And I can strike upwards, say for example, up under the chin, or I can come down. So again, as he's trying to strike and kick me, I can block, I can bring this down and strike various different places on his body, the jaw, the side of the neck, the ribs, anywhere I want to really. And it gives me that flexibility to use it. I can also hook with it. So I haven't lost my grappling capability because I can still hook with this anywhere I want to really. I can even get it around the back of his head and pull him forward just by using the back end of this. Okay? However, there is a much better weapon than this, and I discussed this in my first video. The trusty Chinese cheapo light bought off the internet. As I said before, this thing is very bright. I'm not going to do it to Dimitri because it will blind you for a good few seconds and it's very unpleasant. Same principle as we were saying before, we take up a defensive stance with this. I'm holding it, in this case in my right hand, which gives me the ability to strike with it if I want to. It's actually quite sharp on these ends, so it would make a very good striking weapon if I want to use it like that, but I don't have to. The moment he comes towards me, I hold him off and I blind him. Flash, flash, flash. And that's it, the fight's mine. I can either run away, or I can go in with strikes, kicks, elbows, anything I want to dissuade him again from attacking me. And every time he comes back at me, I just blind him again. That's why I always carry at least a couple of lights on my bike, so I've always got one that's fully charged. Okay, Dimitri, is it unpleasant to be flashed in the light with this? In the face with this? Yeah, it is. It's not nice. So, my top tip for self-defense, get yourself a light. What's your problem? What are you going to do? What are you going to do, huh? Get back in your car. Get back in your car. Or I pop a cap in your ass, you dumb Russian. Of course, it's very unlikely that you're going to end up fighting someone like Dmitri here, who is someone who was kicked out of the Spetsnaz for being too violent. In this situation, I would opt for another option for self-defense. Dmitri, barbecue time.